Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 7 Minutes with Stephanie. Talk About It Tuesday, where we talk about everything under the sun. And on tonight, we're going to be talking about Narcissistic Personality Disorder, the Jezebel spirit. That's right, y'all, because if you remember from my last show, I mentioned about how Jezebel and the Narcissistic Personality Disorder really go hand in hand when I was closing out the Dating Men in Church segment, because we have to be mindful of manipulators because they're in the world and they're also in church. And when we start dating, we need to be aware of the people or the type of personality that we are around or that is influencing us. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I want to begin by explaining where the term narcissistic personality disorder actually came from. And I don't know if you guys remember learning in Greek mythology in high school or college about a young man named Narcissus, a figure in Greek mythology, and he was impossibly handsome that he fell in love with his own image reflected in a pool of water. Even the lovely nymph Echo could not manage to tempt him from his own self-absorption. So he was so absorbed with himself, when a female came to try to, get his attention, baby, it was all about him. And that's what Jezebel was like. Also, it was all about her, but we're gonna get into that. All right, now Narcissus did not realize that it was merely his own self-reflection, and he fell deeply in love with it as if it were somebody else. Narcissus walked by that pool of water and decided to drink some. And as he was drinking, that's when he saw his reflection. He became entranced by it, and he killed himself because he could not have his object of desire himself. Oh, now that's deep. So that's where doctors have coined the phrase narcissistic personality disorder, because they are self-absorbed people, have a lack of understanding. They don't care about anybody but themselves. And I have come to know in research, and we'll get to that probably on next week, that something happens in a person's childhood that causes them to so go within to where they feel like they have to shelter and protect themselves, and it's all about them. They get this grandiose, big personality, a heightened sense of self. It's the ultimate spirit of pride. And we know Lucifer, right, wanted to be God. And that's the biggest narcissist of them all. Because, again, it is a spirit of pride, okay? So now let's go ahead and look on over at the narcissistic personality disorder breakdown. And I am reading from an article from the Mayo Clinic, okay? Now, NPD, or narcissistic personality disorder, is one of several types of personality disorders, and it's also a mental disorder. Now, again, in research back in the day, I found that a narcissist can so fool doctors, psychiatrists, or psychologists because they're great actors, y'all. And I dated one. I dated one for 3 years, and this man called himself a living legend. I mean, go figure. Let somebody else say, oh, they're a legend, but he called himself a living legend. And yes, we should have self-confidence. We should all have self-confidence. However, when that self-confidence starts creeping over into arrogance, because I've learned that there's a difference between arrogance and confidence. It's all about humility, okay? But I'm getting all off track. But you understand what I'm saying. It's a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration. They experience troubled relationships and a lack of empathy for others. Things that I've already said, but look at what I said as it relates to they have a need for excessive attention and admiration. Remember when I was talking about dating men in church, and I was telling you all about that player in the pulpit pastor that I was interested in? He liked to have fans, and that's what narcissists like to do. They like to have what's called supply. Just know that if you're dating a narcissist, you're not the only one that is their boo. How about I just say it like that? You're not their only boo, okay? But anyway, narcissistic personality disorder is commonly found in men. However, it can also be in women, because just like people don't think that men can have the Jezebel spirit, yes, they can, because it is a demonic spirit, and a spirit doesn't care who it inhabits, male or female, all right? But narcissistic personality disorder is most commonly found in men. It says here, it is unknown of its cause, but likely involves a combination of genetic and environmental factors. Symptoms include an excessive need for admiration, things that I've already talked about. A sense of entitlement, it's all about them. The disorder needs to be diagnosed by a professional. Treatment involves talk therapy. So really just get into the psyche of the person to really find out, why do you have this grandiose sense of self, okay? Now, let's look at how narcissistic personality disorder is related to the Jezebel spirit. Now, when I dated that narcissist, I was doing some research, y'all, and I'm going to tell you what the Lord dropped in my spirit. He was like, Stephanie, the world calls this narcissistic personality disorder, but you can trace it in the Bible as the spirit of Jezebel. Now, some may ask, well, who is Jezebel? We hear about Jezebel all the time. Jezebel was the daughter of the priest king Ethbaal, ruler of the Phoenician cities of Tyre and Sidon. When Jezebel married King Ahab, she persuaded him to introduce the worship of the Tyrian god Baal Melkart, a nature god. Most of the prophets of Yahweh or God were killed at her command. So the thing about Jezebel is, one, we already know that we're not supposed to be unequally yoked with people. So King Ahab married an unbeliever, a person who did not worship the same God he worshiped. That was the first thing that he did wrong. But you know what? I got to put a pin in it right here. But make sure that you join me next week. This message has been brought to you by... And like I said, make sure that you're discerning, because the narcissistic personality disorder can inhabit a male or a female, and you don't want to miss how I'm going to go deeper and even share some of my experience with that narcissist and how I got out. Hey, so what do you all think about this hat? It's our signature praying hands by Anointed Creative Designs. You can order it online at anointedcreativedesigns.com. Well, that's it. I love y'all, but remember, the Lord loves you a whole lot more, and make sure that you're salt and light in the earth, because somebody, they need you. Make sure that you press like and subscribe and share the video. Mwah! I love y'all. Be blessed.